Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Miss Ludlam's classroom. This is our first week of distance learning, so bear with me as we go through these lessons, but hopefully this will help you understand what's expected of your students and just help you understand the lesson better this week. So, our first lesson for math is lesson 24 in the Ready books, and we're going to be learning about telling time. This is a skill that you may have done in first grade, telling time to the nearest hour or half hour. This year, we're going to be telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. So here are our basically 4 learning goals, things that we want to master by the end of this lesson, okay? Those are telling time to the nearest 5 minutes, like I just said, being able to identify the hour and minute hand accurately, writing time, and then understanding whether the time is occurring during the morning, which is AM, or the afternoon, evening, which is PM. Okay, so those are the 4 things that are really important for you as we understand this lesson. All right? Okay, so first of all, this is an analog clock. All right? Now, a lot of times we may use a digital clock, which, wait just one second. So while we may tell time with our digital clocks and it's super easy, you still have analog clocks around the world in buildings like our school. We have one in every classroom. And also, if you wear a watch, you may have an analog clock, okay? So first of all, let's talk about these arrows on the clock, all right? The shorter arrow is called the hour hand. Now, that may seem confusing to some of us because the longer hand is the minute hand and the shorter hand is the hour hand. But hours are longer than minutes. Isn't that crazy? The way I like to think about it is that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. 60 minutes in 1 hour. So we go minutes, 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I like to think about it, the word minute is long, the hour word is short. Okay, so think about hour, H-O-U-R, being a shorter word than minutes. That's the way I try to remember it, okay? So the shorthand, like I said, is the hour hand. And when you are using the hour hand to determine what hour it is, super easy. You are just looking at the numbers on the clock, okay? We start at 12 o'clock. We go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then you'll start over at 12 for PM because we all know that there are 24 hours in a day. 12 hours in the AM, 12 hours in the PM, okay? So, one thing that we get confused about when we're trying to tell the hour is that sometimes the hour hand, as it gets closer to the next hour, you can see it. Let's go this way. See how the hour hand is moving? And it's getting really close to that 9. It's getting really close to the 9. And by the time you get to the 12 again, it's going to be 9 o'clock. But before that, when it's not quite on the 9 yet, it is not 9 o'clock, okay? It is still 8. So the rule I say is that you go back to the number, okay? So if you say it's in between 8 and 9, I think it's 9 o'clock. No. It hasn't touched the 9 yet, so it's still 8, okay? So, if I'm looking at this time, let me make it like this. If I'm looking at this time and I'm going to write it down, this is how I write it down. I write down the hour first. And so it is 8 something. We don't know what it is yet. But first we write down the hour. So when I'm identifying time, when I'm telling time, I'm going to look at the hour hand first. I'm going to identify what hour it is. And then I'm going to write down the hour like this. Okay? All right. Now let's talk about the minute hand. Okay. So the blue hand, the longer hand, M-I-N-U-T-E, is way longer than the word hour, right? So that's the long hand. What gets confusing about the minute hand is that we can't just use the big numbers that are on the clock, okay? You're going to have to use your brain to remember what numbers are what. So if you see this clock right here, it has dots for every minute. You see the number 60 at the top. We talked about that's because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So this minute hand, it's going to go minute by minute all the way around the clock in 1 hour. Okay? Every little dot is a minute. When you get to the big number, you've reached a 5. We all know how to count by 5s in 2nd grade, right? So we have, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Sorry for my hand in the way. We'll see if I can do it. 40, 45, 50, 55. And when you get to 60, we start over at 0 again. Okay, that's the next hour, but you start at what? 0. Okay, so let's do that one more time, okay? When you see the 1 and you're counting the blue minute hand, that would be 5. When it gets to the 2, that's 10. Let me try to hold this better. When it gets to the 3, that's 15. When it gets to the 4, that's 20. When it gets to the 5, that's 25. When it gets to the 6, that's 30. 7, 35. The 8, 40. The 9, 45. The 10, 50. And the 11, 55. And then we start over at 0 again. We never write a time down that says 8:60, okay? There's no such time as 8:60. If you get to 60, we start at the next hour. So that would be 9 o'clock, okay? And I will show you how to write that real fast. So, vroom, 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 vroom. We're going back to 8, okay? And we see that our red hour hand, the short hand, is on the 8. It's even a little bit in between the 8 and the 9, but it still goes back to what? The 8, because it's still the 8th hour, okay? The blue hand, which is the minute hand, is now pointing up at the 12, and that is pointing at, on my clock, at 60, but I just said that there's no such time as 8:60, right? So we would start that over at 8 o'clock. 0, 0 is how we write a clock. So I'm going to show you right here. The hour hand is on the 8, so it wrote an 8. Then this colon separates the hours from the minutes. And right now, writing o'clock looks like this. 2 big, fat zeros right there. Okay? All right, so we just covered the hour and the minute hand. All right? We just covered telling time to the nearest 5 minutes. We're going to be counting the minute hand by 5s. Wherever the big number is, you're saying 5. We're starting at the 1, 5, 10, 15, 20, and go all the way around. All right? If you're an overachiever and you want to tell time to the nearest minute, then those dots, you would just start from 0 right here, yet again. And really that dot is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how we got to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if I wanted to keep on counting all the way to 60, I could. Every dot, there's 60 dots on there. All right. So now we also covered writing time. Down, we have our hour and we have our minutes. And all of this is in your book. Lesson 24, pages starting at 230. This will all be written down in there. I'm just trying to explain it so that in my words it might help our students. All right, but like I just said, we go from 12 to 12 in AM, which is the middle of the night in the morning, and then we go from 12 noon all the way to midnight, which is PM. So if I were talking about telling the time, let's see. What time did Walt get me up this morning? Okay, let's look at this time. All right. This morning, Walt decided that he was going to get up at this time. We read the hour hand first. We notice that it's in between the 7 and the 8. So it goes back to the what? To the 7. That's right. So we write down 7 for our hour. All right, now let's look at the minute hand. The minute hand is the blue hand, and it's pointing at the 3. So is it 7:03? Is that what time Walt got me up this morning? No, because I remember that Miss Ludlam taught me that we're counting the minutes, the blue minute hand, by 5. So we have 5, 10, 15. So I'm going to write 15 down on my board right here. Okay, 7:15. Now, here is the way they have it written in your book for a digital clock. They have it like in a box. And over here they have AM and PM. All right? And you circle it. That's the way they have it in the Ready book. Okay? Well, if I'm waking up in the morning, and we said that AM was from 12 midnight to 12 noon, okay? Would that be AM or PM? If you guessed AM, you are correct. It is AM. That is in the morning, okay? So Walt woke us up at 7:15 AM. All right, now, this afternoon, what are we going to do exciting this afternoon? I don't know, go on a walk maybe? So this afternoon, this is the time we're going to go on a walk. Let me show you. Get my clock there. All right. Let me go one more. Okay. All right, this is a good example of it being close, the hour hand being close to the next hour, okay? But it's not there yet. Do you see that? It's in between the 3 and the 4, but it's not on the 4 or past the 4 yet. So this hour would be what time? It would be 3. That's correct. So I'm going to write that down on my clock. And then, so I've got my hour hand identified and written down, and now I'm going to look at my minute hand. Now, yet again, in order to tell our minutes, we have to count by 5s. We're always going to start right up here. That's 0. So you go to the 1. That's 5. And we're going to go all the way to the 9 over here. Okay, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, that's where we stop. The 9 is 45. All right, so what time are we going to go on our walk? 3:45. Got it written down. The hour is written on the left side. We have the colon, and the 45 is written on the right side. Now, like I said, on the digital clock, in your book, they're going to have AM written and PM written. Okay? 3:45. If I'm talking about from noon, which is lunch, to midnight, or midnight to lunch, when would I be going on a walk? Would I be going at 3:45 in the morning or 3:45 in the afternoon? Probably 3:45 in the afternoon, right? Which one is afternoon? The afternoon is PM. Okay? All right. Now, we've covered hour hand, minute hand, telling time to the nearest 5. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, starting over at 0. We've talked a little bit about AM and PM. There will be more about it in the book. And I've written down the time on a digital clock. But what if you have to draw it on an analog clock? Ooh. Okay. Really fast, because Miss Ludlam is running out of time. 5 o'clock, an analog clock. This is the way I would draw it. And it'll probably already be drawn for you most of the time. First, I make a beautiful, perfect circle. It's so perfect, right? I always start with 12 at the top. And in order to fill it in pretty evenly, I just go straight down to 6 at the bottom. Because 6 is half of 12, so you would be making like a half circle. All right? Another easy number to add is the 3 on the right side and the 9 on the left side. Then you just fill in the numbers at a pretty even pace. You just draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 1. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's the 2. 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we've got, it's not perfect, but it'll do. Okay. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So we add our 4 and our 5. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. There's the 7. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. There's the 8. It really is so beautiful and perfect. I know. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. The 9's already there. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. And there's 11. And then we're to 60 again. Okay, this is me filling in an analog clock. The whole point of me doing this is because I want to show you how to draw the hour hand and the minute hand in order to write time on an analog clock. Okay? We already did it on a digital clock. Now we're doing it on an analog clock. If I were you, I would use either a ruler or something like the edge of a book, the edge of a cell phone, something to make a straight line. We don't want a bunch of squiggly arrows to a time, okay? I put a dot right in the middle. So if I'm trying to make the time 3:45, okay, I'm going to draw my hour hand first. And I know it's going to be in between the 3 and the 4, but you don't want it to go all the way down there because the hour hand has to be what? It has to be short, okay? Then 45, I'm just going to count, by 5s. We start at 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And that is where my very straight minute hand line is going to go. Okay? You notice I didn't make a bunch of curved lines. My hour hand is very distinctly shorter than the minute hand. However, if you're finding that it's hard for you to make your hour hand look short, just write H on it and write an M above the minute hand. That would be helpful at any time. to identify which one is the hour hand, write H on it, and then identify which one's the minute hand and write minute on it. Okay? So, I think we are at the end of our video. Sorry if it's too long. We'll work on that for next time. But basically this week in math, we're working on telling time and writing time and discussing whether it would be happening in the AM or the PM. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please just text your teacher on Remind, or you can follow up with us later in the week through, email or something like that. Thanks so much. Bye.